Okay. Patch Midell.
Hi. Patch Mydell, and I've been working with EYV, and I think what I really love about it is that it is a program without borders. That's how I see it. It's expanding nationwide, and I guess that's part of the future as well. Besides that, we hope to develop multilingual presentations.
Wow.
Fran?
Hi, I'm Fran McCarrigan. I live in Burlington County, and I am a member of Camden County League. I I'm especially excited to meet a bunch of gals specifically that are so darn enthused. It's invigorating. I love working with educators and to see the kids get excited. That is so cool. What I'd like to see happen so that we could learn each other's best practices is a better sharing of highlights of events and how did you make that such a cool event? And so that we can duplicate your successes all over the state of New Jersey. So I'll probably be putting together a spreadsheet, whereas you can toot your horns about what has worked. And if you have something that hasn't worked, put that down too, because we don't want to waste our time with what hasn't worked. Thank you.
Okay, Lisa?
Um, I'm not really sure very much about this program at all.
That's fine.
Yeah. Um, right. I come from Cumberland County and we haven't had a chapter in, I don't know, at least 25 years. So we're here to think about getting that going.
Welcome. So happy to have you. Janice McGowan?
Oh, hi. I retired to Monmouth County about 9 years ago. Before that, I lived in Maplewood, so I'm kind of a hybrid north-south person. And what I've really enjoyed is the opportunity to be around high school students. Mostly what I do is go in and register the kids to vote. And I enjoy that very much. I enjoy working with the administrators and teachers who are committed to this educational opportunity for the kids and meeting some kids who are very excited about it themselves. Um, One thing I would like to see is more schools that have an ongoing group of students who are committed to this and to some extent would even run it themselves so that we would be more helping them out and keeping them, each group of students, up to date on what the rules are and things like that, rather than have us be the ones who come in and deliver this sort of the service of registering voters. We'd still want to come in and deliver the educational components. Those I think we always need somebody from the league.
Thank you. Jane?
I am thrilled with uh, kind of the well-planned growth and careful building of infrastructure so that the program is both sustainable and capable of change. And I found that just the wonderful people of all ages who have been attracted to the program is extremely exciting as well. And my vision for the future is that we continue to grow and reach more students and have an ability to really continue to make a difference in the civic engagement of young people.
Thanks. Joan? Joan Peters. I'm sorry, I just saw we have two Joans. Joan Peters first.
Okay, so this year, Maggie and I know we did we did it with Plainfield again, but Maggie and I ended up focusing a lot on voter registration in the schools, high schools, and in the colleges. We had good success in the colleges, and I guess and we've been trying to get the principals to engage with EYV, and we haven't had much luck. So I think Fran's suggestion about a spreadsheet and like, how do you do this? I know Patch Schmidl is bribing people, but we don't have that kind of, you know, stuff to do. We don't have that to do. So I think that, but I did agree with we are getting commitments from schools to engage at least with the voting and then move them hopefully to the EYV piece, because I think that's the most important part. For myself, I have been very disappointed with the election and not enough kids voting and understanding what their responsibility is.
Okay, Amy and Shoshana?
Debbie Downer here.
Go ahead.
Hi, Shoshana here, new to EYV, so can't weigh in on that. My hope is that we keep the Republic, and it's more critical now. And I'm happy to see other folks from Cumberland County. That is also very hopeful to me, because we've gotten a really good response from people interested in carrying this work forward, and hopefully that will ripple out in other good ways in civic engagement in this county. Thanks.
What county?
Cumberland County, it was, right? Amy, how about you? Did you want to add anything?
She wants to know.
Hi, Amy Parker. I'm just kind of hanging out here listening to, but very pleased to be a part of it.
Okay,
Thank you.
good, thanks. Robin?
I'm Robin Fraster. I kind of got involved after hearing Pat speak at another organization that it was, and I just kind of went into it with, I'm going to help register kids to vote, because as I learned more about the whole educational module, I became more excited and wanted to learn more. I think I've learned as much as any of the students have, and have had some opportunities to share that information, which I think made a big difference in the kids' understanding of the security and the importance of voting. For the future, I hope I get better at getting the educational modules into schools. That's not my strong suit. I think I'm pretty good once I get into a school. I think I connect well with the teachers and the students and presenting the educational modules. I just need better ways to get into the schools in the first place.
Thanks. Penny Watson?
Hi, I'm from Cumberland County, and this is my first exposure. I'm just here to learn.
Lovely to have you, Penny. Joan DeVore?
Hi. I'm also fairly new. I did one event with Fran at my daughter's alma mater, and what I like, so in turn, when we first learned about this in Camden County, I was really impressed with the breadth of the curriculum parts. I don't remember how they divide up again, but one thing that stuck with me was the part that talks about how to communicate your views in a constructive way, even with someone that disagrees with you, how to communicate your views and not stay silent about your views just because the person disagrees, but to communicate in a constructive way. I'm not sure how much we've pushed out that module, but I liked all of them. And so I think what who said before about getting the kids involved, and I think that's the intention, is to have kids. What I'd like to see in the future is we go in and we plant it, and then the kids continue to grow it in leadership.
Thank you. Donna?
Hi, Donna Ward, Montclair Area League, Essex County. Our league had developed a program called Why Voting Matters, which is a one-off program that we had been successful in about a dozen schools in Essex County. But with Pat Schmidl's help, she got us into Title I schools that we had not even been targeting before with the Energizing Young Voters modules. And so we're impressed with the ability to expand our offering now to include multiple modules, the multiple modules of Energizing Young Voters. And so I think that's important, not just having one offering, but having a suite of things to offer. And then I think for the future, what I'd like to see is what's going to be key in Essex County is to develop more community partners who reflect more of the communities that we're going into. You know, we need to have more diversity. We can't have just older white women going into the high schools that we're in. So I'm hoping that we're going to develop younger, more diverse partnerships too.
Thanks. Chris Corwin?
Hey, folks, just had to unmute. So I found out about the program through Fran. There was a joint meeting between the League of Women Voters and Moms Demand Action, which I'm a part of both of those organizations, recently joined both. And Fran had the opportunity to speak to the whole group, and I was just so excited about it. I connected with her. So that's kind of the exciting and energizing part. I've had the opportunity to sit with Pat and shadow her through kind of the content and also on a call that she had with the principal. So it's exciting to me because my background is in education for many years, initially at the high school level, but then in corporate education for many, many years. So getting back into kind of that early stage with the high school kids is very invigorating for me. My kind of vision I've had, oh, by the way, I'm with the South Jersey League, and I live in Gloucester County. I'm with the Camden County League, rather, and I live in Gloucester County. So with that said, my vision is really, I have connections in the city of Camden. And so I've already kind of started to mine those and just start to talk about it. So it's in the very initial stages of that. But I think there's definitely an opportunity there to do some work there. And just the very brief conversations that I've had, people have been very receptive to that. I do want to just throw a shout out there with the voting aspect of it. I set up some voter registration, and one of them happened to be to the Cumberland County group. There are many of you here. I did it at Millville High School.
Oh, great.
And yeah, so if you guys want to talk, and unless you already have connections, there definitely is an interest there overall around civic engagement. So just circle back with me.
Good.
And I can give you contacts.
Beth?
Hi, Beth Grossman. I'm from North Jersey with the Ridgewood League. I think the thing that I've been most excited about is how Energizing Young Voters has really given me a great tool for how to talk to students to be able to get them to be excited about both registering and voting. And I hope I don't steal Tila's thunder too, but the most exciting one we did this year was we got invited to Hasbrook Heights High School to spend a whole period in every senior English class. We talked to the kids for 20 minutes and we used a very modified version and tweaked version of both the timeline, the suffrage timeline, and the truth about turnout. And we did that for 20 minutes, and then we registered the kids, and we walked away with 110 registrations. Amazing. Amazing.
Sierra? Oh, I'm sorry, Beth, future.
So, and then the thing that I'm hoping to make happen, I have an internship at Mawa High School that's been really successful. We did a postcard party in the summer, writing postcards to Georgia. They organized just about every registration event that we did at the library, at Mawa Day. We marched in the Mawa Day parade. And what I'd love to see is to have them be able to go down to the middle school, if I can ever get the middle school to respond to me, and have them present Energizing Young Voters. And actually, one of my students attended your August
The training?
Yes, that was wonderful. Good. Sierra?
Hi, I'm Sierra. I'm part of the Hudson County chapter. I'm in Hoboken. I really like that we let the students really get involved and we involve them in some of the videos and the slideshows, and that we really train them, like I did with Dr. Pat the other week, to present to other students. And I hope that we can get some more students involved as student ambassadors and let them know that we have that scholarship available that Pat Schmeidel has been working on.
You'll learn more about that in a few minutes. Tila?
Hi, I'm Tila Banker, and I'm with the League of Women Voters Northern Valley. Beth and I have been working. We met at a state meeting, and it was sort of love at first sight. We had the same ideas, and we decided that we would try to work together, which has been a really great experience. Hasbrook Heights, her high school, Mawa. We've done a couple of high schools in our league at Dwight and close to Cresskill and Tenafly. I love the modules. They're fabulous tools. We have had to modify them. I am hoping that not only can we do the idea of that every election matters, I'm hoping that we can get more into news media and critical skills and critical thinking with these kids, because I feel that that is one of the most important areas that we need to focus in on. And our league president, our new league president, is a social studies teacher and very supportive of civic engagement. We, in that respect, we are going to invite the new superintendent of schools from Bergen County to our next league meeting to ask him to speak on the current law and how he intends to implement it in all of our high schools. And so we're hoping that with the, excuse me, with the support of our superintendent of schools, we will actually be able to reach out into our league and our county schools. So that's hopefully, because it is difficult to get into the schools, and the schools think they're doing the job. They don't want us to do the job. The teachers are too busy. And it's a difficult task at best. So
Karen?
Did you say Karen?
I did. Is that what's on your?
Well, good evening. Well, good afternoon. Hi, Lisa Garrison. I see you, and I see that Amy and Shoshana are on. So I'm going to assume that we're supposed to be introducing ourselves and talking about what we're excited about. So good afternoon to everyone. My name is Karen Barnett. I am in Cumberland County, and I'm seeing Lisa just smiling over there because Lisa and I have been doing work together along with Shoshana for a number of years. I actually run a program within the city of Bridgeton that also draws students from Cumberland County, Atlantic County, and Salem County. It's based on the biopsychosocial disease model, which means that we look at information and education, personal growth and decision making, community and environmental change, and creating environments for being drug-free, bias-free, and violence-free, and believing in inclusivity is the expected norm and accepted norm. So, which means that we do a lot of the things that the League of Women Voters already does. And I'm just looking forward to being able to support. I've had a almost 35-year relationship as a community school collaborative within the city of Bridgeton. So some of the struggles that Tila was talking about, we do not have. And I'm looking forward to being able to review your curriculum to see how we can modify it to better suit the needs of our community. And again, look at creating emerging voters beginning in the middle school experience. And then we're actually registering those that are 17. So if their birthday falls within that window, that they are able to vote. But more importantly, having them create their narrative, not the narrative that the populace may want to create, making sure that they're given accurate information that they can divide, discern, and develop into their own voice and not a voice that is driven by outside influence. So that is who I am. So I'm just excited to be here.
I'm very happy to have you here, Karen. Thank you. Janice Fleming, can you speak to us about you and what you've been excited about and a future wish?
I can. So I got involved with Pat and Energizing Young Voters, I guess, in 2021 when we brought a voter simulation event to the high school. And we've pretty much been doing it every year. Last year, we actually included the middle schools, which is exciting. The social studies supervisor, Dr. Tristan Cox, has just really been just fantastic with this whole thing. And he pretty much kind of built up a student government or ambassadors within Plainfield, the district, and they now go out and register the students to vote. He did mention to me that the modules are long, so trying to get in to take a period up to teach the modules, he just didn't think that that was something that the teachers would sign on to, and he's had a hard time trying to get buy-in for that. But he did kind of create a different video presentation, kind of pulling a little bit of the information from some of the modules, which is short and sweet. It was probably like 5 minutes long, which seemed to capture the audience of the students. So that's good. What I'm excited about is possibly working with their student government. Well, the student government programs, I guess, in Union County, actually, and trying to tie that in with Energizing Young Voters, right? So if we could maybe modify some of the modules to help them when they do their student elections. So on a small scale, we're kind of showing them, we're teaching them what the modules say as far as, selecting a candidate and, maybe giving them some stats about how, their voter turnout and kind of bridging it to a larger scale on how, as a citizen and a community member of Plainfield, then your responsibility to vote. So just kind of bouncing around with that idea to try to figure how to make that happen. But I'm really excited to be here. Love everything about Energizing Young Voters.
Thanks, Janice. Okay. Listening to all of you speak, I think one of the things that's very clear is that we're all at different stages of development, which is great because that means that the new people bring in new ideas and the older folks can say, as Fran pointed out, this works, this didn't work where we were. So what kind of ideas can we have in the future? One of the other things that is clear is your enthusiasm for the program. I feel like I've got 20 people here who are all sharing in the wish to see good things continue to happen for kids in terms of civic engagement. And I need that. I need to know that I've got support. And because the second thing that I was going to talk about is that why now? Why am I so concerned? Well, right now we have a lot of support from the New Jersey Department of Education. We have a lot of support now from, I think, many people in NJEA. Teachers were coming up to us at the convention last week from all over the state, asking for help, asking for what we were doing. So that's an opportunity. The thing that is difficult for me to tell you is that my husband has been diagnosed with dementia for several years, and the needs are growing. And so I am going to have to figure out how I can step back a little bit. So it really is very encouraging to me to hear that all of you have enough going that it will continue even if I need to step back a little bit and then eventually more and more. What I'd like to wind up being is kind of like a professor emeritus. I don't ever want to leave this because it is my lifeblood right now. But I have to be practical too. So the part that I said to you, I wanted to kind of present to you a state of the organization in terms of the administration of it. So you have a sense of where this organization is from the like upper levels kind of thing, if you want to say, how does it hold together? Well, the first thing is that we are an unfunded initiative of the League of Women Voters of New Jersey. We moved there after having been a part of the League of Women Voters of Southern Monmouth County when we outgrew the ability to manage the financial end of it, to handle the expansion of it across the state. We exist under their 501c3, so we can do fundraising and have it be tax deductible for people. But there is no formal organizational structure that, so we're not overseen by the board of LWVNJ. So we are completely separate and we have our autonomy in that regard, which is good. It also means that we have to work really hard at figuring out how we can collaborate with one another and maintain, it's not that we haven't had a good relationships along the way, but how do we best make use of what LWVNJ has to offer, and how does LWVNJ make use of the best that we have to offer? So that's one of the things. Now, I'm going to share my screen because I want you to see where we are in terms of states and counties. And of course, now I can't see what I'm looking for. Let me. All right. Well, I'm going to shift to the national scene. We are in 16 out of the 21 counties already. And by that, I mean we've at least made a presentation in one school in each one of those counties. The ones that we're missing are here. The people from the southern part of the state are here because they're interested in joining us. So if we can get something going in your counties, the only counties that we will not have had a presentation in are Warren and Hunterdon counties. And I think it's achievable. So I think we can consider ourselves a statewide education organization. Nationally, we also have quite a large presence. We have at least one league in each one of the counties that are in red who are using our materials. The state of Arizona is also using us now on a statewide basis. The state of Montana is using us on a statewide basis. The purple states are states that are currently in the process of developing the use. The people from Montana are working with the people from Idaho. There is a person who is a 6 and 6er in Monmouth County who is going to Florida and is working with two people that I know down there who are interested in developing the Energizing Young Voters program for schools in Florida. Our intern this year is a member of one of the Divine Nine sororities in Atlanta, and she and the leader of the male fraternity that is a matchup with them are starting to work on introducing it in schools in the city of Atlanta. And they have enormous dreams that I just absolutely love them for, because they said, we are a national sorority and a national fraternity. And so eventually they see Energizing Young Voters being used within their organization nationally. The state of Vermont, one of our Young Voters Advisory Board members is now has her career started up there, and she wants to move the Energizing Young Voters programs into the college where she's currently working. So I think that you are part of something which is much larger than you may have realized. And I think that can be very encouraging. By the numbers, we do both voter registration and voter education, as you heard. Janice can speak to the format that she's used. I'm not asking you to do it right now, Janice, but I think she has developed a system that has worked really well here in Monmouth County. And I can see that we could almost subdivide what we do into a voter registration team and a voter education team. And I'm not saying that Monmouth County's program is the best, but I can see the ideas from the rest of you fitting with that. In terms of the voter education, I know that I am absolutely not the only person that has been doing this, that all of you have been involved in making presentations. If you look at just what I've done personally since the school year 2021, which is when we've started, I, as one person, have made more than 269 presentations. I've been in front of 11,031 students and 2,061 adults. So if you multiply that by 20 over a 4-year period, I think you can see that we have enormous potential for the future. The programs that have been the most frequently requested are the timeline of suffrage and the voter simulation. Particularly voter simulation was requested this year, and I think that makes sense. So we may see a drop off in that next year. I think the timeline of suffrage is a great introduction to our program, and I especially like the fact that it's easy enough to teach that we can have middle school students teach it to their peers, which is what Sierra was talking about that we did last week. I wish we had recorded those kids because it would make every one of you feel as if this is something that I can convince anybody else they can do if they can see these young kids doing it. The youth voter registration project that we just finished, which counted people from September 3rd until October 15th. We as leagues collected data about what the voter services people were able to do during that period. And I don't, Robin, you can speak to this, but I don't think we got the numbers from everybody.
As far as I know, I've gotten numbers from at least the people who I know have received outreach from the leagues. I don't have any way to know if individual leagues went out on their own without flowing through us to begin with.
Okay, Robin.
So, for example, somebody went, to a school in, I don't know, Middlesex County, for example, on their own. I don't know that happened.
Yeah. Even though
I can
we
only
asked.
track. And when we asked in the information that you had sent out asking for the data, I believe you mentioned, give us everything, but I'm not sure it really registered that this is what we were looking for. So everything that I know people have sent to us are all consolidated at this point. I looked at all the worksheets to know everything that flowed into Energizing Young Voters by schools directly reaching to us, and that we flowed back out to the leagues to go the next step and set up things with those schools. That I believe I have all that information because I've been trying to track that and tracked back to people who have been phenomenal about getting back to me with it. It's those who we don't know that I don't know.
Okay, well, thank you. Robin was taking care of all of that data collection for me, so that's why I turned to her right now. I do know that with what Robin was able to tally, that during that 6-week period, there were almost 1,000 new registrations from the leagues that did report it. So hopefully with leagues that didn't report it, there were more. I don't have the final figures from the Department of State yet, but the numbers that, and I'm sorry, I can't share them with you yet because I would promise that I wouldn't, but the numbers that the State Department collected during that period surprised them at how many people they were able to register during that period of time. So once those are available to distribute, and that's because they have to go through all kinds of politics to make sure that it's said the right way and all that kind of thing. That'll be great. And of the things that came into Robin, Hudson County had the highest number of new registrations, which I was really pleased with. They had 372, and that was followed by Hunterdon County. That had 176, and then Bergen County with 160 during those 6-week period. And maybe that 160 isn't high enough because of what Beth said. Anyway, on with where we are right now. We have a couple of projects in place right now. We have put a lot of emphasis on the youth voter registration events, and I think they've been pretty successful. We have an ambassador program that is developing, and these are basically high school students who apply, who are energized. When we're in front of them, you can see those leaders emerging. They will apply to be an ambassador, and then they choose one of 4 committees to be on: a legislative committee, an education committee, a DEI committee, or an outreach committee, which has included voter services and social media. I think probably those should be split up. But at any rate, the kids then go much more deeply into those processes than kids could possibly do in a typical high school program. The other thing that we have is the Title I program that was mentioned here. We identified all of the schools that were Title I schools based on income rather than on low achievement. And Pat Schmeidel has taken on the project of getting into those schools and getting a yes. And she is really good at it. She's has helped us get into some of the schools that have been really, really tough to get into. And as a part of that, her family has set up a family foundation that will provide scholarships to young people in those essentially city school systems who want to become ambassadors and help to spread the word in the schools themselves. So that's an ambitious project, but it is working. And the other thing, as Pat mentioned when she was speaking, is the idea of making our programs multilingual. We have 2 of them translated into Spanish right now. That has been done by students, and they're very effective. One of the timeline of suffrage, there is now a slideshow that is bilingual. It has both Spanish and English on the slides, and there is a Spanish script as well as an English script. And just a day or so ago, I discovered that using PowerPoint slides, we can actually have subtitles appear on the screen as the presenter is speaking, so that in Neptune City or Neptune Township, for example, where I am, we can have subtitles that are in Haitian Creole, so that students who are only speaking that language when they first come still can benefit from what we're doing. We're also in the early thinking stages, thanks to Jane Macta and her Art the Vote, of creating interdisciplinary lessons. And at the NJEA convention, I was able to connect Jane with the Art Educators of New Jersey organization, so that we have the possibility of at least 4 lessons already that will help art educators implement the civic engagement ideas behind using art as an expression and convincing people to vote through it. And that was also something that the Young Voters Advisory Board had said they wanted as a target, was to have more interdisciplinary connections in our work. In terms of other things like future targets, Fran was one that brought up to mind again, was something that I have felt for several years, is that we really need to target technical schools, that they tend to be the stepchild when it comes to voter registration events, and they are certainly the stepchild when it comes to voter education. And many of those young people are the people who will not go further in their education. So if we don't get them while they're still in high school, that may be the last time they learn something about their civic responsibilities. In terms of operations, right now, and I think this is true with most of you too, when we get our foot in the door and get into a school district, it's usually we make the outreach, and we, as that person who's made the outreach, actually do the presentation. When we started the Title I project, that didn't become feasible. And so what has happened is that Pat Schmeidel has done the outreach. And as I said, she is really good at it. She's also really good at presenting, but she likes the outreach part better. And Fran, when we spoke, hates the outreach part. And she would rather just have somebody say, here, Fran, be here on such and such a date. So that seemed to make it a reasonable thing to have people who's specifically had one job or the other. And my thought was, the reason I asked you, are you North, Central, or South Jersey, was my feeling was that if we could have one person like Pat in the North, one in the Central, and one in the South, and then have teams built up in each of the counties in those, so that eventually we might have 21 teams, and that's not likely. It's more likely to be 15 because we'll combine counties, that those three people could then funnel the requests to those individual presenters in those counties. It would just be, I think, a more consistent structure, an easier way to keep track, and everybody wouldn't have to be doing everything then, so it would be easier. However, that's it for me. What I would like to have the rest of the time, oh, I shouldn't say that. There are two other things that I think are really important that we're not doing a good job of at all right now. One of those is data collection. And I think we need that because we're going to have to need data in order to reach out to funders. And that's the other thing that we are not doing a good job of right now. Up until now, we have had normal business expenses, and we purchased swag for events. And for the last 2 years, we have a hired intern, a college level intern. So basically, the budget was about $6,000 a year. Now, with us expanding across the state, and with like the Title I programs go across the whole state, it's also, I think, only fair to pay those people transportation costs, tolls, parking costs, and that sort of thing when they are doing work for us. So that would be an additional expenditure. If we get more deeply involved in using translation equipment, like the headsets and the speakers that people use when they're traveling, like the tour guide thing, that is going to add to an expense, because we have one little set right now, but that times 21 counties is going to add up to a significant chunk of money. And at the present time, the only way we have income is from personal donations. Some people have our work for employees who have employers who have matching grants, so that once a year they can make a substantial donation, and the corporation will match that. And $500 or $750 grants for youth voter registration drives that we get from LWV US. We are not allowed to apply for grants from any organization that the League of Women Voters of New Jersey also gets funds from, or that the League of Women Voters US gets funds from, because we cannot be in a competitive situation with them. So one of the things we're going to need to do is to figure out, how do we get income that is going to sustain the modest financial needs of this organization. And then my last big thing is, eventually, my feeling is that there should be a person at LWVNJ who takes on the organizational leadership role, takes on what I've been doing, and it should be a paid position. That would probably be similar to something like what Melissa Marks is doing. But that would probably also mean that we would need to raise the funds to have that person be a part of it. So that's where the organization is right now. So I'm hoping that you're in for future planning, and I'm going to open it up to just brainstorming. And by brainstorming, I mean you just say what's on your mind, what you think might work in any regard. You can build on each other's ideas. Right now, I have turned on the AI note taker, so nobody needs to take notes. We'll just go through them at the end and try to figure out and organize what the ideas were. Chris Corwin, you have your hand raised.
Hi, I just wanted to jump in now because I have to jump off in a couple of minutes, but I've reached out to a few people, and I've done that in person. Didn't have my laptop with me. And so I was actually showing them stuff on the phone. Is there a way that we could just get like a one-page quick at a glance overview? These are the programs, this is who we are, this is what we do, as a handout, or to give, or to attach to an email or to a text that we might send somebody?
Yes, we have that we use down at the convention. So,
That would be awesome.
yeah, I'll make that available to all of you. Amy and Shoshana, you have your hand. Oh, Chris, were you finished before I let you go?
Yeah, I'm done. I'll
Okay.
put my hand down.
Okay, Amy and Shoshana.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about Rotary clubs. That local Rotary clubs in each county or each city, because the state leagues and national leagues are probably not reaching out at that level. That might be a source. The other question I have is how much, what are we talking about for a paid position? Like, what is that budget roughly looking like?
The people at LWVNJ right now, I think, and I'm not certain of this, but I think make about $45,000 to $55,000 a year.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Others.
Hi, this is Fran. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Real quickly, the Cumberland County people, I'm right above Hamilton. I'd like to know exactly who you are. I will be happy to work with you to get you up to snuff on what we're doing. And of course, Chris Corwin is already, yeah, probably can come in. So that's Lisa Stewart Garrison, Shoshana and Amy Parker, Amy Watson, and Karen Barnett. Did I miss anyone?
Penny Watson.
Penny.
Go ahead and say your last name.
Yeah, my last name actually, Francis, is Osofsky. It's O-S as in snail, O-F as in frog, S-K-Y as in yes.
What's your first, and so I can grab your email off of Pat's. Gotcha. I'll reach out to you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Is anyone on the call in Hudson County? I like the idea, Pat, when you were saying there could be some people that just do outreach to get the program into schools, because there will come a point soon when I might not be available during the day. So it would be nice to be able to just work virtually on that. So that's something I'd be interested in.
Thanks. And you've got a great mentor or a teacher there in Patch Mydell. So, and you've already worked together. So that's good.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay, so I actually, Pat, I do need to correct you, doctor. I love doing the presentations. I love being with the students just as much as whatever. It's all great. I would like to offer I guess we can organize some kind of a training program for people who would like to have some ideas of how to do an approach. Robin and I actually had started working on scripts, and I do have a bunch of scripts. But one thing I do with Chris and with Sierra and some people with Donna and actually another new league member in California is have them attend calls. So it's not just like getting a passive lesson. It's actually you get to be on the call with me. And you can just see things that I do. It doesn't mean that, you can adapt it to your own style, of course. But that might be something, Pat, that we may want to figure out how to organize and put it out there. We realize that the challenge is that everybody's very busy doing a lot of things. And so we do, like Pat mentioned, it's kind of obvious that we do need dedicated people, because this is different, obviously, than doing voter registration drives, where you're there at the school one day and you spend the day, and there's a little bit of training, and then it's any time you do it, it's the same. But with these, you want to learn the product that we're offering. So it does take some commitment and some time. And then if you're going into the schools, and it's rare that you're going to get one shot and get into a school, it's going to take follow-up. So there's a lot more commitment to it. So I think it's behooves us all to be able to reach out to the local leagues and find those people, such as Sierra, who's doing this now in Hudson County. She's taking the taking the torch and running with it. And hopefully there are people that will step up to want to just do this. Like I know with in union with Joan and Maggie, we're so stressed, so spread thin that we are, we're happy to help. My dog is here now and he wants my attention. No. Sorry. I'm happy to be part of your partner with you guys. And then if somebody comes in and takes it over, great. But in the meantime, our work continues even as we're developing all this. And I'm doing today. I did a call. I got through to a school today. It was a tech school up in Hudson, actually, where I finally able to get somebody, and I sent them our information. So it's going to the 2 teachers who are going to see if they want this material, that kind of thing. So and the schools are very much receiving it. Yesterday, I also had success with a school in Toms River North. Actually, I thought it was east, but it was north, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, let's get together." So right now, please know that you can contact me if you feel you want to work with me or train or whatever I can do to help, because that's the idea. It's that I'm offering my services to all the leagues. So that's what I meant, where I love it that I'm a member without borders. And I love that too, because you guys also have great ideas. I see how you're doing things. And I like to participate in your events. If you have a voter registration drive, invite me. Maybe I can meet the school and I can do the pitch for the educational modules. All right. So that's one thing. Also, when I'm calling the schools now, I'm also asking, do you have multi-language? Do you, ELL, I think it's called, used to be ELS. So I can understand what's your population, because us being able to offer multiple languages is a huge feature for so many of these inner city schools and outer city too. It's everywhere. And I'm learning a lot of what's going on with our country, and this is our country. This is the future, and we want to be there and influence these students, even if they can't vote yet. We know that maybe they will be citizens soon. That's something Dr. Pat helped me to how to address. And when you are a citizen, you'll be able to XYZ. Even if you can't vote now, you're only 17 or 16 or 15, you can be a voting advocate. So those are the ideals, and I'm going on and on about this. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but anyway, that's all. That's it. And Henry's here if you hear him barking. So
Jane. You're still muted, Jane.
Oh, okay. I have just 2 questions, if I may. Are you tracking the rate of return requests from schools where you've presented? How often do you go back to schools the next year? And also, how are you tracking, because I know you once reported on this, the translation into actual voters?
Do you want me to answer that now? Because what I was doing was writing down your 2 questions, because what I'm hoping to do is to summarize at the end where we are right now. So if I can avoid answering that right this moment.
Sure.
Thanks, Sierra. Janice Fleming.
Hi, Pat. So I'm wondering if the Energizing Young Voters website that you have, is it a way to kind of put members there and show bios or whatever, or kind of use that as an opportunity to see who's in the area, who's doing it, maybe put documents in there or store important teaching materials, to help us learn how to do it and go on our own. Because right now we have these meetings, and then I don't remember, forgive me, exactly where people are, and so it's kind of like our Club Express website, where you go in and you for another organization, not even for the league, but we go in and we have the members there. You can click on their interests and you can contact them directly, and then it kind of shows the people who are involved in the program. I don't know if the current website has that capability.
It has the capability. It's a great idea. And I can see there's a page specifically for league members. And it seems to me that might be a good location for that kind of thing. It could also go back to what was asked at the beginning. Is there a handout? So all of those kinds of things that
Right.
people might need. All right, I've made a note, so I don't want to keep interrupting other ideas. Beth,
Okay, thanks.
I had to make sure I'm not on mute.
you're good.
A couple of months ago, I guess it was, Tila got an invitation to a Girl Scout troop, and it was the high school Girl Scouts. They were 14 to 18, right, Tila? Yeah. And then also, I recently got a request from here in Mawa, someone who is a leader in the middle school Girl Scout troop, and she wants us to do I Am the Change, and that we're going to do it early next year. I haven't talked to Delia yet about the date, but the idea was to get the kids to be able to better define what their own issue is that they're passionate about before they pick their project for the year for 2025. So that could be a great outreach to, generally Girl Scout troops with the idea in mind. It'll help them define what their future projects are. The leader that I'm working with on getting a date for that even said she was going to reach out to the Boy Scout and Cub Scout troops to see if any of them were also interested. And then when you go to do the voter registration, because I'm lucky that Mawa High School has an AP Government and Politics class, and the teacher asked me to speak there last year and invited me back to speak this year just to introduce the kids to the league. But then she got so excited about it, she wants Teal and me to do the suffrage timeline for one of her 10th grade social study classes.
Sure.
So, you can try to use the voter registration event to get in the door to some social studies teacher somewhere. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
This may be a little bit off track, but Shoshana, are we becoming a chapter of, it seems like we need to become a chapter of the League of Women Voters before we begin this project even.
Oh.
We're not really affiliated yet as a county chapter.
My understanding is we don't need to be a chapter right now.
That's
okay.
correct.
And the chapter issue is more complicated, and it's not so relevant to this bigger group.
Okay.
Right. In order to run a voter registration drive, you have to be a member of the League of Women Voters, but you can participate in a voter registration drive. You do not have to be a member of the League of Women Voters to be a member of Energizing Young Voters. Of course, we urge you to. It's like Energizing Young Voters feeds into the League of Women Voters. We do that with the young people. And, as they learn the skills of advocacy, because we remain issue agnostic, we can't help them do the actual advocacy work, but we can connect them with the league that does. So that's why I said it, the structure is very fluid, which gives us some advantages and is, disadvantages too. All right, Tila.
I think the structure is difficult. I know that my league president has trouble deciding, is this a part of the League of Women Voters or isn't it a part of the League of Women Voters? Are you involved in two separate organizations or are you involved in one organization? And as a social studies teacher, she says, there are so many programs out there. Why do we have to use this one? There's iCivics, there's this program, there's that program. And my response has typically been, this is a tool that was developed by somebody who is a league member, and that it is a tool that we can use to go into schools. I said it doesn't have to be the only tool, and we can modify it to our needs. But I feel that I'm having a hard time communicating with her and she understands. She's not stupid. I mean,
Where the structure is.
She understands, but this is a discussion that we have had, and we're also trying to build our league up as well. So I feel that this arm or quasi arm or whatever you want to call it is a way to get other women involved in our league as
Mhm.
well.
And young
Um,
people.
I would see that.
Yeah, young people
Yeah.
too. Anybody 16 years of age or older is eligible to be a league member. And what we've done with the ambassadors and with the Young Voters Advisory Board is I pay that fee if their particular league charges them. Not every league does.
I
Some,
think it's free now, and we had a recent meeting. The state is changing their membership, I
yes,
guess,
yes.
and it's all going to be digitized, and there's student memberships are free.
Okay, thanks. Karen?
Thank you. To Shoshana and Penny and Lisa and Amy, I think that we probably need to have a sidebar outside of this meeting. I have access to all of the schools within Cumberland County, and I have relationships with all of the superintendents, assistant superintendents. But the other thing that I would suggest we consider is that if we learned anything as a result of COVID, there's more than one way to skin a cat and to get individuals education. So we don't necessarily have to go into the schools. We are able to actually build a model that meets the needs of the specific culture of our school and still make sure that there's fidelity in the information that is being transmitted. And the other thing is we talked about being able to do the subtitles on the PowerPoints. You can also do voiceovers on PowerPoints, and I use those a lot. You can also do voiceovers on a PowerPoint. So if you needed to do a voiceover in French Creole or any other language, you can have someone do that voiceover for your PowerPoint so that it can be shared in their native language. So whether they're inclusive English language learners, you can have multiple voiceovers done to each one of your PowerPoints so that if you're doing a virtual or a hybrid, you put it up, and if you want to hear it in English, you hear it in English. But if you want to go into a breakout room that's ELL, you're able to do that. And you can still do the subtitles. However, you can actually do an auditory voiceover on a PowerPoint.
Wow. Okay. We are already several minutes past 2 o'clock, and I had really wanted to try to keep it to 1, but Fran, you had your hand up. So let's take yours and let's decide, do we need another meeting like this? What do we need? But Fran, your comment first.
Well, I'm going to support, we need another meeting like this. I've never heard so many absolutely fantastic suggestions and ideas. I'm blown away today. All right. And so in reference to the Cumberland County group, may I suggest that in the interim, as we ramp up and I work with you to become comfortable with EYV, you can always join another local county group to become a member. You don't.
Yeah, true. You don't have to have your own private one in.
Yeah, and because like Ashana mentioned, that's more involved. So
Yeah.
that's not a deterrent.
Yeah. I joined the state.
Cool.
You can do it that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
So there are lots of ways we can work this, and we just have to be creative and appropriate. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's all.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. We have those AI notes that were taken, and I have made some notes myself. I'm going to send those out to you. What I'd like you to tell me quickly is how should we meet again, and if so, how often? My thought was that this group would meet once a month, maybe just until we get things up and running for the future. And then you could have individual group meetings like the Cumberland County group yourself. But what are your ideas?
I would like to see this group at this point while we're evolving and growing and brainstorming. I'd like to see this more often than 1 month. I think there's so much rich comment, Terry, coming and so many ideas that I don't want to wait a month. That's all.
Sheila, did you have your hand raised?
No, I think once a month is fine. I don't know that. I was just gonna say maybe again in January when people have had a chance to sort of regroup and think about our plans and have a little bit maybe more to say about what we're doing for the upcoming governor's election and spring, that would be okay with me. But I certainly agree that there have been some really interesting ideas tossed out. And I just want to say, I think the partnerships are really important. I'm really impressed with what Karen has done, and I'd like to speak more to how she's developed this collaborative program with the schools there. And it leaves me thinking that why are we focusing just on schools? Why not other youth groups and people who
everybody's heads are going up
and people where other young people are engaged. I mean, I think just focusing on the school might be too narrow. So
anybody else?
Yeah, I really just wanted to add to that. I agree 100% with what Tila's saying there. And I think libraries, Sheila and I have talked about libraries being a great opportunity. And then you get that same group of kids that you're going to get in the schools, and you've got them in a different location. It's an after school setting. And I believe that a friend of mine here in town said, Pat, that she was on a call with you with New York State libraries or Rockland County libraries or something like that.
That was the whole library system in the southern part of New York.
And she's on the board of our Mawa library, and she said she wants to work with me on trying to make the same thing happen in Bergen County that she made happen in Rockland County or wherever that was. So I think libraries, Girl Scout and Boy Scout troops, religious institutions. I'm going to go to the youth group at my temple and see if they'd be interested. So I love that idea because the schools can sometimes be hard to get into.
Okay, Robin?
So I'm going to preface this by saying I am a technological moron, but is there a way we could set up like a Slack discussion group so that people who want to share ideas, we can look at it when we want to, and if I have time, I can say something that I think might be important for other people to hear, but not make it something that everybody has to look at or be involved in on a regular basis?
We can.
I don't know if that's the right platform, but that kind of idea, just somewhere that we can share ideas as they come along. Like you might have a good idea today, and in a month, I'm going to forget it. So, and if I write it down, I'll forget where I wrote it. So maybe just some way to kind of consolidate information and ideas as they come to us.
Yeah. All right. I think what I'm going to do, as I said, is send out notes. But right now I'm hearing certain topics. And I think what I'll do is say, all right, which of these is rank order these? Which ones should we do first? And then we'll see which ones are the most important to the most of us. And I can see just getting together and going right into breakout rooms for those topics and then coming back and just shooting with one another. Where are you in terms of that topic? I think that'll work. If you've got a better idea, please. Shoshana, here I vote for email list over Slack. Hey, Shoshana. That is something. And Google does have Google groups too. So that's another possibility. But at any rate, I really, really, really appreciate all that you have shared with us today. And I'm walking out of here feeling a whole lot better than I did a week ago when I realized what I was going to be facing and how hard it was going to be. So you have really given me hope. Thank you so much. And I'll set a date in January and we'll see which one is the best. Oh, thank you all. So have a wonderful holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody and happy whatever holidays you you celebrate between now and January when we meet again. Take care.
Pleasure meeting you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.